In the spring of 2018, the British media regulator Ofcom suspected the Russian international television channel Russia Today of spreading propaganda beneficial to the Kremlin. The reasons for the search for possible violations were the numerous complaints of the British audience and the regulator's own monitoring. Later, Ofcom studied 10 programs on Russia Today. In 7 of them, violations of the principles of journalism and impartiality were found. Taken together, the 7 breaches represent a serious failure of compliance with our broadcasting rules. We have told Russia Today that we are minded to consider imposing a statutory sanction. The broadcaster now has an opportunity to make representations to us, which we will consider before proceeding further. From the official message on the website of the British regulator Ofcom. A few months later, Ofcom made 3 more cases against Russia Today. The claims of the British regulator were that the Russian TV channel presents events in Ukraine exclusively from the position of the Kremlin, while according to the British Broadcasting Code, all matters, and especially those concerning important political events and causing controversy, must be reported impartially. But the Russian pro-Kremlin TV channel does not adhere to these principles anywhere. If a child says the Russian citizens have occupied us, immediately throw him into the river with roaring current. Each hut there, in Ukraine, is called a spruce house. So you take those children right inside that hut and burn it to the ground. According to the Russian propagandist Anton Krasovsky, it is necessary to kill children who criticize Russia. These words were said on the air of Russia Today channel. Krasovsky also encourages Russian soldiers to rape Ukrainians. He says that Ukraine should not exist and its citizens who resist Russia should be shot to death. The head of the Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs immediately reacted to this. Governments which still have not banned RT must watch this excerpt. This is what you side with if you allow RT to operate in your countries. Aggressive genocide incitement. We will put this person on trial for it, which has nothing to do with freedom of speech. Ban RT worldwide. Dmitry Kuleba, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, on Twitter. The Russia Today television company is funded by the Russian government. It broadcasts in English, Spanish, French and Arabic. Russia Today programs are still available on cable and satellite networks in many countries around the world. RT was preparing for the information war. This is the conclusion of the authors of the report on the impact of the Russia Today propaganda in Europe and worldwide. The research was published and presented in Belgium in September 2022. As a response to Russian aggression, the European Union introduced a ban on Russia Today and its various language versions back in March, while the social networks Facebook and Twitter suspended the channel's accounts and blocked external links to their websites. An alternative to Russian propaganda in Europe can be the Ukrainian International Broadcasting, so that the world learns about the events in Ukraine without Russian manipulations. The issue of switching not only to the Russian language of the Freedom Channel, but to English, French, Spanish was considered. Also, there will be Arabic. The decision was made to start broadcasting in English, the language of international communication. Other languages will be added too. So far, the main broadcast language of the Freedom Channel is Russian, and it successfully resists Russian propaganda.
It is on our digital platforms that there are more than 820 million views, and the figures are especially satisfying as for views in Russia, because we speak Russian for the Russian-speaking people in the world. Well, I think they were poisoned with propaganda in Russian, so we produce the antidote in Russian too. Yulia Ostrovska, Director General of the International Broadcasting Multimedia Platform of Ukraine, at a parliamentary committee meeting.
The Ukrainian International Broadcasting channel is already transmitted via 6 satellites. The number of countries, cable networks and over-the-top platforms where the Freedom Channel broadcasts has increased. Its total audience exceeded 80 million households. And this will allow Ukrainian International Broadcasting to replace the Russian propaganda TV channel Russia Today in Europe in the near future. Reported by Pavel Stelmach, Natalia Husak, Volodymyr Stengelov, UATV News.